Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. Today we're going to look at the Accounts Receivable role. Now we can use tools and features within D365 CRM to facilitate the collections process. We're going to look at using SmartConnect to record paid invoices in CRM, customizing Word templates for collection letters, using a Power BI dashboard in CRM to see overdue receivables. Finally, we're going to look at customer interactions, phone calls, email tracking, and email templates. Let's get started.
Tired of salespeople nagging you to see if invoices have been paid? With SmartConnect, we can import paid invoices from your ERP to your CRM. Today, I'll show you a map I created in SmartConnect, which pulls invoices from Business Central and inserts them into D365 CRM. First, let's look at Business Central here. Now, I've taken the posting dates for everything greater than or equal to March 1st and less than April 1st. That should give everything from March. And I only want the paid invoices, so I had to choose closed equals yes and remaining equals 0. Over in SmartConnect, you'll see the two connections we have. We've set up access to Business Central and CRM. On data sources, you'll see I have the posted sales invoice data source I created. This allows us access to the web services for posted sales invoice and posted sales invoice lines. You can think of these as tables. And here it is in sort of a table format and how it's joined. If I click in here, you'll see I have the same query parameters. That gives us the date range we wanted. Close equals true and remain equals 0. And if I click preview, I should see the same invoices as before. I'm adding a specific invoice number because all the products for this invoice need to be added to CRM before we bring them over to the invoices. So a product integration might be something you want to add and write before this, but today we're just dealing with invoices. So for simplicity, I'm just going to integrate with one right now. Click preview again, and there's our one invoice. Click save there. This data source, along with our other connection, makes up our source and destination for our map. And if I click run, we'll see one record, and shortly we should see one success. Go back over to my browser here, and if I switch over to CRM, I'm on Invoices, and I'll just click refresh, and here's our invoice that we just imported. And as simple as that, our salespeople now know if an invoice has been paid without having to bother our accounts receivable. Thanks for taking the time to watch today. If you'd like to learn more about SmartConnect, contact us here at Profit Business Group. And don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.
In Accounts Receivable, there's lots of ways that we can make use of CRM. We can use it in collection management. The first thing we would want to do is mark invoices as paid within the CRM system. We can then use views to display unpaid invoices. We can use reports to summarize invoice statuses. We can look at charts that show us various details about our AR invoices. We can email directly from within CRM using custom queries. And we can create Word templates that can be used for collection letters. Inside my Sales Hub, I can look at my view of all my invoices. I've actually made a view of my invoices that now filters on the invoices that are not marked as paid. I'm going to drill into an invoice, and we'll actually mark this invoice as being paid, and then we'll see that it falls off the view list. So now you can see that the invoice for the $50,000 has fallen off the list. So next we'll have a look at the chart that I can generate. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to ask for all invoices by customer. I'm going to pick the AdventureWorks, and I'll ask for the total amount that's due. And I'll look at that on a column chart, and I can see that I have an invoice with 0, an invoice for 110, and an invoice for 5,500. As you can see, I can do graphs here by customer, by who owns that record, by the price list, by the status reason. I can pick and choose the different customers, and notice that as I pick my different customers inside the graph, the data inside my view is changing. Once we've picked the customer, then we can choose whichever field we want to summarize, and we can choose whichever graph type we want to use. Making use of the Advanced Find feature, I can then bring up the records that my query is using, and I can select multiple records, and then I can choose to send an email for those records. I have a pre-built collections template for outstanding invoices. It looks very similar to my Word template, and I can choose to select the records on the current page, send to the selected records, or to all records. I would hit send. What that's going to do then, when I drill through to the account, in my timeline, you'll then see that each of those emails now sits in the timeline so that I know who's done what and what we've said to the customer. Moving back to our list of unpaid invoices, we can select an invoice, choose Word templates, and I have Word templates where I can reprint the invoice, a summary of the invoice, or I can print a collections letter. Using the Word templates that are out of box, you can design your own Word templates. This one's using a collection type format. I've formatted the header with our logo and our address, and then inside the body we have fields that come from within CRM that are variable. So here I have my dear and then Mr. Smith is my contact, and invoice and the invoice number is the variable that comes out of CRM. I've drilled through to my customer, AdventureWorks. Going to use the More button so I can see the Word templates that are available to my account. I'm going to have a look at the Account Invoices Word template. The Account Invoices Word template has the same header. What this one has is a section where it repeats the transactions. So here I've linked my Account Word template into my invoices, and we can see that the system can then pull all the invoices that are against that customer. Looking on the customer's timeline, when we do make contact with them and talk to them about their account, we're going to make sure that we document that phone call so we know who said what and when they said it. As we can see, there's lots of different ways of interacting with our accounts receivable data within CRM. For more information about CRM or how it can be used for accounts receivable functions, please visit Profit Business Group's website at www.profit.ca. Making use of CRM when you are working in accounts receivable. When you're inside CRM, you're not limited to only seeing data within your CRM system. You can use Power BI dashboards to pull data from other systems. For example, overdue receivables or your age trial balance from your ERP. To make this happen, first we have to build our Power BI reports. Power BI doesn't have to be overwhelming. It is an excellent tool that lets you ask questions of your data. Here we've asked the question, what is the total balance? With your reports all built, you can move into PowerBI.com and create your dashboard. Place your reports onto one screen so that they can be used within CRM. Inside CRM, move to your dashboards, and you can use the dashboard drop-down to switch into your My Dashboards, and you can see the dashboards that you've already added, or you can click New, Power BI Dashboard, and then you can select the Power BI dashboard that you have available to you inside your workspace. So here is our dashboard inside CRM. We have a 2 million total balance. We have our aging, and we have our aging as a pie chart. Double checking our data inside our GP ERP, we see one advantage of CRM Power BI over the ERP itself. Inside GP, we only have 4 aging buckets, which is, as you can see, this particular data set has data past 120 days. Whereas inside CRM, we can see the actual data. We can confirm that the total balance, however, is correct, so we know that our data is pulling properly. By asking questions of our ERP data within Power BI, we can make very powerful dashboards that can then be used inside CRM. Our accounts receivable employees can then use that data when contacting customers. If you have any questions about Power BI, CRM, or Microsoft Dynamics GP, please call Profit Business Group. You can check our website at www.profit.ca.
As a person doing accounts receivable, we need to be able to track our activities. One way we can do that is using CRM or D365 to do that. Today we're going to look at email activities for collections, email templates, the phone call activity within CRM, and other activities related to collections. Let's get started. This is an example of tracking email communication between you and your customer. So let's start off by looking at open invoices. I'm going to pull up an invoice here and go to the Details tab. And as you can see on the timeline, it can see all the communication that's happened related to this one invoice. So we're going to create a new email activity. Let's say we have an invoice that's outstanding. So I want to send an email to the customer. So it automatically pulls up the associated customer for me. I can add a subject line. And we can also insert templates that we create. So if I go to Insert Template here, change this to the Regarding field, hit Select, and now you'll see I have a list of templates that are stored in my system. So I'm going to choose the Outstanding Invoice template. And as you can see, it says, please be advised the following invoice, and it lists the invoice number with the amount that's outstanding or due and the due date of that particular invoice. I apply the template and hit OK, and now it's filled in all the details for me, and I can actually go ahead and send that particular email by hitting the send button. So now as you can see, it's tagged our communication associated onto that invoice. To create email templates in the system, it's as simple as going to the Settings tab, and then here's a list of all the templates I currently have in the system. I'm just going to pull up our email template for Outstanding Invoice, the one we just sent. And as you can see, it's very dynamic in nature, where I can have some text and then insert other fields related to this. So I could have the customer name, account name, contact in here. As you can see, I've inserted invoice ID, amount due, due date, and the full name of the person sending the particular email out to the client. We can also track phone conversation tasks related to collections, and also set up tasks for ourselves to do something related to a collections activity. So we can do that a couple different ways, but one way we're going to look at is going to Accounts, selecting a particular account. We'll just choose FiberCam here. And now on the timeline, I can go to the plus button and actually let's add a phone call activity as an example. So it's going to bring up our quick create for us. Subject, collection, and then it's going to have the person who we're calling that's associated with that account. We can schedule this to happen on a certain date. So let's say tomorrow and a certain time that we want this to happen, 9 a.m. And we hit save and close at this point. And it's now going to create an active activity on the account. If I was to look at my activities, I would see that I have a collections call outstanding for me to do. And then I can go actually ahead and select that particular activity and actually close the phone call as I make the phone call, take down some descriptions as to what that phone call was about. So we'll close the call. I'm going to go ahead and close this record. Now, as you can see, if I go back to the accounts that I was looking at, and we look at the Fabricam account, you will see that I have inside the timeline, I have a closed phone call activity. So we showed an example of a phone call activity and an email activity related to collections. Also, you can have different types of activities, from creating a task, an appointment, a meeting related to collections. I can even add a note onto a particular invoice or the account file related to the collections activities. If you'd like to learn more about collections and using CRM to do collections, please contact Profit by going to www.profit.ca. Thank you.